Hello and welcome to a new Ursina making Minecraft with Python tutorial. Ursina, by the way, made by Petter Amland. Right. I'm going to press G because that, in our code, as you hopefully know, turns off terrain generation. You can see now that's stopped, which just gives us a higher frame rate. If I press G again, then that turns on the generation, hence G, of the terrain. A little tip if you've just downloaded the code, which is in the description, and you're new to this series, and for some random reason you've started here, there you go. Oh, I've just seen a bug up here. Look, I thought we had sorted the trees. That's one issue. I've forgotten what I'm doing in these tutorials. Sorry, in the last tutorial, which suggests that I haven't finished placing the trees correctly. Yeah, that one looks too deep. Yeah, that was in the terrain. Like this one, you see, it's kind of like plugged through the terrain over the top of another block. Yes, and there's an issue there, so we're punching holes through the terrain. Okay, that makes sense. Let's go and sort that out. And I also noticed we're on seed 2022 at the start. So there are a couple of things I can go and solve already. Right. I was a little the major thing that we need to do is looking at your comments. Isaac plays YT YouTube, is that? Says, can you please tell me how to get less trees? So at the moment, in our new system for generating trees using their own Perlin noise to have more pleasing like groups of trees distributed across the terrain. At the moment, that's slowing down the algorithm a lot. So we need to sort out how to do something better there. And then, oh, Sightsee Meije, I assume I pronounced that perfectly, has asked, can you please add crafting? It's something I haven't thought about yet, so I should think about it and then do. Oh, since we've got the inventory, I suppose, we've got the inventory system, it'll be at least nice to have some user interface for crafting. And what's kind of the first thing you like craft in Minecraft? I kind of like think a crafting table. Is that what you? I can't remember. I'm gonna have to go and play Minecraft again to like refresh my memory, see what we have to do. Isaac again talking about the laggy trees. I've got some ideas. And there's someone else who asked about the old playlist. They were talking about Vincent. I'm sure was this giant chicken. So my only goal really in this video is to go and download a model so I can show you how to get any mob model that you want and then how to use it in the code. That's what we're going to do. But since I've just incidentally noticed the bugs, such as the trees not being placed in the correct place or too deep into the terrain, we can fix that. I thought I had fixed it. That's the confusing thing. Let's just close down the terminal here. But that does make sense. I was just quickly reading the notes to myself. I've said tree placement wiggle doing. And I was like, I'm sure I had done that. So that means we've got the trees now not being planted in like a grid, but we've kind of wiggled them with some, like on a sine wave. So a bit of trigonometry, which we did in the previous lesson. In the previous video or tutorial. So it looks like I haven't quite finished doing that. The crown clash, I've almost forgotten what that is, but that's basically if we're placing a block via terrain or building and there's already a block in that space in the world, then do not allow a block to be generated there. Which I'm sure I've done in my prepare code, so I could just go and have a look at that. Anyway, oh yes, we did loads of sound and things last time. So this must be tutorial 25 presently. So the first thing, yes, we want to go and sort out the trees. Oh, and the 2023 thing. I'll just show you what I mean by that. So let's run the game again. I'm in the main module, and then I run the code from there using this extension I've got for Python in Visual Studio Code. That's the IDE I'm using, by the way. And here we go. It just shows some text on the screen, 2022. So now if I press Shift Q, it closes everything down. And right, let's go and investigate the Perlin noise. Hopefully I've got that open already. So what I've got open at the top there, I've got all the modules that contribute to this overall project. And we've got two Perlin modules. One is like the handler for talking to the real Perlin module, which we've created, and then another one which we use for this particular project. And it looks like I've got the right one. So perlin.py is what you're after, and in here we're setting up like octaves and frequency and amplitude. So this is all to do with how bumpy the terrain is, etc. And then at the beginning we are setting a seed, just like in Minecraft. So if we put this number in again, we'll get exactly the same terrain. So it'd be nice to update it to 2023. Presumably that won't be much different, but let's go and have a look. Now if I try and run the code from Perlin module, it won't work, so I have to go back to the main module and then run from there. Here we go. Excuse me. Okay. It's definitely a lot different. Oh, and I'll press G again just to give us some more smoother frame rates. And now we can really see a dramatic problem with the placement of trees. Basically all that's happening is we're moving the tree's position from where it was flush with the terrain. So that's causing the problem there. Oh, there's Panda. You're not causing any problems, are you? No. Thinking of, so I'm just skipping from one topic to the next. Apologies, or if you like that, I hope you enjoy. So notice we've got some very basic animation. We're just moving the feet very simply from one like keyframe to another. It was so long ago we did that, I can't remember if we have to save two different models and then we're loading them up. I don't think we do actually. I think we do it internally. Yeah, we do it internally. So it might be good. Probably not this video because I'm just trying to make one. I was just running out of time and I just thought I just need to sit down and make something. But next time would be good if we get our giant chicken Vincent back to do some animation. Any ideas for what you would like Vincent to do or the panda to do? Always very happy to hear in the comments. So we've sorted the the seed. So we just have to go to the Perlin module and change the number. But do notice that when the amplitude is too great, meaning the height and the depth of hills and valleys, then it's like we stretch out the terrain. And we either need to increase the frequency, which kind of smooths things out, or not allow the amplitude to be that high. Anyway, that's probably why, deja vu, I probably put it back to 22 before. That's probably exactly what I did in the last video, so I'm going to go and do that because it's a nicer terrain. There we go. I wonder if I can add that string. So here I'm creating a text object, and then I'm just casting that as a string. So this text function, the first argument it takes is a string, a variable of type string, meaning not a number, not a true or false variable, but value, but a string value, a string of text characters. So the seed is a number, so we have to cast it as a string that basically puts quote marks around it. So I should be able to say, add to that, this is nice. This is a nice seed. Smiley face. That should remind me next time, don't bother updating it to 2023 because that's a terrible seed. Right, good. So, tree wiggle. Tree wiggle. Have I got a tree system module? Yes, I have. Have I left any notes to myself about wiggling it? Oh, this is probably not where we do the wiggling. We probably have to do the wiggling in the mesh terrain module because we're dealing with generating blocks, i.e. the tree, each block for the tree trunk and also the foliage around the side of the trees and at the top, or the crown of the tree, the trunky wonky. So we need to go and call this function generate block, which we don't have access to inside of the tree system module because I haven't organized the code well enough yet. But in the future we can refactor so that we can keep all of the tree business, i.e. all of this nonsense, inside of the tree system. And then if we need to debug, we don't have to look through mesh terrain. How big is it? I can't remember how my kind of private rule of about 200 lines, I think. So 233 lines, we're pushing things at the moment. You can see the module, it's not giant, so I can flick through it and find things, but it is getting a little bit hairy in there. Okay. What are we looking for? Right, yeah, what are we looking for? So we're going back to plant tree. So I've got a function in mesh terrain module called plant tree, and here's where we disrupt the grid, where we add some sine wiggles, which just changes the z position and the x position, z and x, of the tree. But at the moment, that's being added at the wrong time. And so if I go to generate terrain, I think we're deriving the initial x and z position of the tree down here. So in generate terrain, we get the current x and z of where we're planning to build some new terrain as we swirl around the player's position. And in our new system, we then go and decide whether to plant some stone, whether we're high enough to change the type of block to snow, and then finally we ask, should we plant a tree? And what we pass through is that x position and z position of the current terrain. Now, if we then wiggle, let's say we're about this high, if we then go and wiggle the tree away, this block might be up here, so we've kind of planted the tree inside of terrain. Or the terrain will go lower, and now we've got floating trees, as we saw, especially with Seed 2023. So, how do I solve that? Presumably, let's guess, because I've done it in my prepare code, I know, but I can't remember how I've done it. So I'll go and look at that in a moment. But I think, well, you can think how you would do it. I think one way would be when we go up to plant tree, here we are, we might wiggle and then go and get the height of the terrain again at that position so that we know where to start building the trunk. Is that what we do? Okay, let's go and see. So my prepare code is red instead of blue. So I need to go into mesh terrain. Plant stone. Plant tree. There we go. Adjust. So after we apply the wiggle to Z and X, we then have Y, so our starting position of a tree equals the floored value of, yes, the Perlin noise. So we just go and get height again. X plus the wiggle, Z plus the wiggle. So it's exactly how I imagined. Okay, so just one line of code. Let's see if we can write it via via our tutorial code. So first, just a comment, adjust tree X and Z position pos due to wiggle. So essentially we're changing the y position here. Oh yeah, I use these little underscores before the parameter so that I know it's a variable that I've passed into this function. So I have passed in the y. So equals, and then we want to floor to get a nice round number. And now we need to go and get Perlin. I can't remember how to do that. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to lift from here. So presumably in generate terrain, we're doing that. There we go. So we just want this. We want this. So the Perlin method belongs to the mesh terrain class. So I needed a this dot. So that's why my predictive text kind of wasn't working. Plant stone, here we are. I think I just, yeah. So floor, this, Perlin, get height, and now I want underscore x plus wiggle underscore z plus wiggle. I noticed in my prepared code I did 1 plus that, so we're over the top of the terrain. Let's do that. In fact, let's put 2. Oh, this might be a clever way to test things. I don't usually think of clever ways to test things, but if I do 2 plus, that means there should be this air gap below the train, so we can really clearly see if all the trees are aligned. I'm quite excited by this test. Let's go. Right, run. The code is running. So, oh yeah, this 22 and 2. This is a nice seed. Okay. So we have got floating trees. That looks like to be more than one block. So it looks like I've already incorporated the 1 plus in the code as it stands. So you know what? Shift Q, and we'll go back to mesh terrain, and let's just put 1 plus, and now it will be floating exactly as kind of expected. That means my running, or our tutorial code is different to my prepared code. Now, so we must have an error here. You can't be exactly on top of the terrain. So one of these blocks, let me just press G. So it hasn't gone through the terrain. Oh, that one did. And now that's created a bug. So I can't destroy this block. Interesting. What's going on? Mesh terrain. X and Z. Let's have a look at the prepare code. X first, then Z. I'm adding the wiggle. Throughout. Let's have a look. X and then Z. Oh, generate a tree. Do I have to pass in X and Z Oh, I haven't added the wiggle on. Is that right? Have I just not added the wiggle? Oh no, I have. Sorry. X and Z. Oh, I didn't pay attention. I've added the wiggle to Z and X. So I don't need to add it again here. Right. Well done at home if you spotted that bug. Lovely. Okay. Okay. So, but we still do have to go and adjust where Y is now that we've added our wiggle. Oh, okay. So let's just, so again, I think I've already incorporated this one here. So maybe, yeah, if I add another one, now we should get our floating, my dream of floating trees. I.e. exactly one block above the terrain. I don't see any trees. I've killed all the trees. Oh no, there's some trees. Some of them look suspiciously higher than one. But maybe the terrain. Nope. Everything I've looked at so far. Oh, you were close, weren't you? It's just because you're on the corner. They're all exactly one block ahead. Oh, brilliant. Okay. So it's, yeah, I'm pleased with my testing. It just means I can get around and have a look. Everything's good. Okay, so we've done a thing. We've done something. So we've saved we've saved the trees. So on here I can now say done. That's good. Mesh terrain, and I need to just take off this one. So now they'll be flush with the floor. I did notice in my prepare code, so the red version here, I've added foliage to to the trees to make them look good like that. So all it is an elaboration of the system that we've got already. I've got two on here. Interesting. And one right down here. So we could have a quick look at that code. So that again will be a mesh terrain. Here we are. So I'm in plant tree of my prepare code. The trunk starts there. um, and it looks like if the tree is, I don't know, I'm getting some Perlin noise against the tree itself. Is that right? I don't know. Um, and then just adding 4 blocks of foliage around the trunk at that point before going onto the crown. What's interesting actually, which I can't remember doing, is this by variable and using the tree noise to decide whether to add the foliage there. So only some trees at some heights or something like that will inherit this feature. So again, I really need to go and study this code and experiment before trying to do some tutorial on it, because I don't understand it because I haven't looked at it in long enough. Okay, but you get the idea. You could certainly see how to make your own foliage patterns, and maybe branches and things would be good. Okay, but right, okay. So I only want to make a half-an-hour video, and we've only got 6 minutes left. So we really need to go and get some Vincent. So if we go to BlockBench, blockbench.net, and we open the web app, so we can just use this in browser. Oh wow, what's that? Splash art by Wacky. It's like giant ice explorer. That looks amazing. What's going on here? Okay, so we want to maybe do a Minecraft skin, because then I think we can just go and load in the prepared models. We want Python edition. I suppose it doesn't matter. Create a new, no. I want one derived from models. Create a new model. Here we go. So now you can, from here, go and choose which. Oh, you can get block. That's exciting. A texture, armor, an alley. We want a chicken. Wonderful. Resolution 16 by 16. Texture. Could I randomly go and get something from AI art? Yeah, I've been creating some AI art recently. But this just complicates matters. Oh, here we go. I use this one. Upload. Okay, sorry, welcome back. A brief pause there. I just had to move into another room, sorry. So, I just added a random texture. Well, actually, it was some AI art I wanted to use as a new thumbnail. There we go. This is Vincent, isn't it? Here we go. How do I make this into the 16 by 16 texture? That's the question. I don't know. With 3 minutes, let's just try import texture, create texture. Overlay. Oh, okay. Oh, so that's like the UV. So UV is the map of how the texture we wrapped around your model. So I can kind of see this as a chicken in silhouette. Anyway, so now we need to download it as an OBJ model. So presumably I can go to File and then Export. Export an OBJ file. You can, a GLTF. That's interesting. Okay, anyway, so OBJ file. That's done. So we need to make sure that that model is in our project folder. So let me just go to downloads. Let me just pause this. Okay, I see. Sorry, it's this assets for zip. So presumably this will have the texture in. So I'll just unzip that. The material and the object. So, and that is today. So let's just rename this Vincent. There we go. Vincent.obj. I've got the materials. It looks like we have to download the textures separately, but we'll just have a textureless Vincent for now. Copy Vincent. So now we want to go to our project folder. Here we are. So where am I? There. So in our assets folder, we've just got a load of mess. We've got our texture atlas for our terrain. We've got some textures for our panda, and we've got the panda model, and now we're going to have our Vincent model. There we are, Vincent, OBJ. Okay, so if we go back to, excuse me, go back to our code, I'm going to the main module, and let's just see if we load in our panda here. Because our first question is, where do we do this? Second question, there we go. From the mob system, import everything. So presumably this is where we'll import our panda. So I need to go and open the mob system. So I need to view, Explorer. There's my mod system. Close down the Explorer now. There we go. Right. So Grey is the name of our panda. Oh yeah, I've forgotten. Grey is our panda. Let's just here see if we can Can we can we can we find Vincent? So I say Vincent equals. Now we're not going to do a frame animation 3D panda walk. I wonder if I've got, sorry, a function already handling this. No, we just really need to load the model in, which I've forgotten how to do. Load model. And then we put in the name, Vincent. I could just put Vincent in, and then Ursina, behind the scenes, will go and look for different models. But I'll put in the extension anyway, obj. And then, very importantly, we've got to say use deep copy equals true with the new version of the Ursina engine. Okay. Then we can say Vincent scale times equals 10 to make him very big. I don't know how big the original model will be. That's something you'll find in different environments. When you're importing models, you can't predict how big that they're going to be. Oh, Vincent will be right in the middle of the world. Oh, something's gone wrong. It has no attribute scale. So Vincent dot model scale. I can't remember. Do we change the scale of our panda anywhere? No, we don't. Prepare code. I must change the. I think I've got the axe, haven't I? The pickaxe. Sorry. I'll probably do that in main. I'll probably just put it down the bottom here. No. Oh, tool. Here we go. Oh, it's an entity. Oh God, I forgot. Yeah, you have to load in an entity, and we don't have to do the deep copy. Because that will happen behind the scenes if we just make it an entity. So only an entity will have a scale, not a model. Okay. So Vincent, let's try again. So Vincent, you're a new entity. Model equals Vincent. I don't need to call deep copy here. And then actually I could just add your scale in here, 10. Position, that can be 0, but Z, I think if we say equals -10, he should be 10 blocks in front of us. So save that code, go to main, let's try and run again. Oh, the upside of me not knowing what I'm doing is that these are some bugs that should happen to other people. Meaning, this will help you out. Now, I didn't see him in front of me, so Z is actually behind me. There we go. We've got Vincent back without a texture. Wonderful. Giant white chicken. Okay, so next video, maybe animating Vincent, getting him a texture on. I don't kind of like his positioning, obviously. But he's not quite big enough, is he? He needs to be at least 16, and then a little bit higher. Vincent dot y equals at least 10 in the sky. So I'll leave it there. We've just gone over half an hour. Keep this video nice and short since I haven't prepared it. But we've solved some tree wiggles. We can change the seed of your terrain, and we can add in models. Definitely time for me to go. There he is. Welcome back, Vincent. Welcome back. Okay. See you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.